Welcome to Cocktail Hour. Welcome to episode 31 of Cocktail Hour. Today we have a special guest host, Liz McMullen. Give it up.
Hello!
And, exactly, thank you. And we have a guest author. And I'm not even going to pretend and try to get you guys to guess because it's going to be on the site anyway. So, welcome MJ Williamz to our craziness.
Yay!
Yeah, today we're going to talk to MJ about her novel, Forbidden Passions. Mm-hmm. And in celebration of this historical period piece, we are having a Mint Julep. Yes, I don't think everybody used the same recipe that I sent around, but I can tell you I have had one Mint Julep. So I've had 2.5 ounces of bourbon whiskey, 4 mint leaves, a teaspoon of powdered sugar, and I think it was like 3 or 4 teaspoons of water. So yeah, I'm feeling a teeny bit of a buzz, but I'm not wild about bourbon whiskey, but I like the buzz. So yeah, I'm glad I had one, but I probably won't have one again.
Oh my God, it's so strong. I just tried it. I'm like, oh my God, I think hair's growing on my chest. That was strong.
Oh, Lordy. Get the shaver out. Get the shaver out. How are you liking it, MJ?
I like NyQuil, so it's not bad.
That's awesome. I will make sure I post the recipe that I sent around on the show notes for anybody that's brave enough to try it.
That's the one I used, Peyton. I used yours.
Did you? Okay, yeah. I used this as a perfect excuse to buy a muddler because I didn't have one. Although technically you don't really need one. You could use a big long spoon or you could use a shot glass if you have a short round glass and you're mixing it in. But, I'm like, I want to have a muddler. I don't think I muddled my mint leaves enough. I think that was the biggest problem. Because I got the shaved ice down pat. It was great for, like a little alcoholic icy.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't think I muddled the leaves enough.
I made mine different. Like, I created a simple syrup, which was like a 1/4 cup of water, 1/4 cup of sugar, and then added the leaves to there, and I made the syrup, and then it cooled. And I also kept the other ingredients in the freezer. So it's nice and cold.
Nice.
And it's sweeter than it would have been, obviously, if I had done your recipe, and I'm kind of glad for the sugar, because I don't think I'm man enough for bourbon.
I don't do cold drinks, and I don't do ice, so mine is neat. I'm having a mint julep neat.
You don't drink beer?
I drink beer at room temperature.
Wow.
Interesting.
I'm a strange one.
Well, to each their own,
Mine is not a Slurpee. Mine is just like basically bourbon with some leaves floating in it.
That's good.
There was a mint hurricane. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, goodness gracious. Gigantor congratulations, MJ. You made the Rainbow Readers Award list, I saw.
Yes, for what, best use of twat as pillow talk or something like that?
I read it, I started cracking up. I'm like, what? Yes, it's best use of the word twat as pillow talk in historical erotica.
Are you telling the truth? I didn't read this.
No lie, sister. Yeah, and if you want to read the rest of them, go over to rainbowreader.blogspot.com/2011 and then move on from there because there's a big old long URL and I'm guessing you can probably find it by that brief URL description. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh, that was a great award. I'll take that.
Why not? And speaking of Forbidden Passions and the word twat,
yes.
Why don't you give our listeners a little brief summary of what the novel's about?
Forbidden Passions is about a woman named Corinne Staples who is unabashedly butch for 1860. She wears men's clothes. She works in a men's world. She does bookkeeping, which she inherited from her father. And her very best friend in the world loses her husband. and then realizes that some money is disappearing from the plantation. So Della, the best friend, calls Corinne and says, hey, will you come take a look at the books and see if you can figure out what's going on? So Corinne goes from Baton Rouge to New Orleans and is actually kind of looking forward also to going to seeing little Katie, who is Della's little girl that Corinne has seen over the years and kind of, helped her raise her and such. And then she gets there and is surprised to find out that Katie is no longer a little girl. She's 19 years old, drop-dead gorgeous, and definitely warm for Corinne's form.
Mm-hmm.
And so the story kind of goes where Corinne does her best to deny her feelings. Katie's pretty much a spoiled 19-year-old who is used to getting what Katie wants.
Mm-hmm.
And the story goes from there.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good summary.
Thank you. I wrote it.
Right? You should be able to do a damn fine summary, that's for sure.
I should.
I gotta tell you, Liz, you want to step in here for a sec or no?
You go first.
Okay, good. I gotta tell you, for a book that's not erotica, because I don't think this is labeled in the erotica category, isn't this more of a romance?
No. Forbidden Passions is an erotica novel.
Is it?
It's under the Heatstroke, Implant, or Bold Strokes books, which is their erotic line. It is erotica.
Well, that makes sense now. I was reading the book, I'm going, what the fuck? There's so much fucking going on. Oh my God. I could not believe how much sex there was in this book, and I'm thinking, is this a romance?
I think that's the most sex I've ever seen in a book, I have to say.
I didn't think it was a romance. I mean, color me silly, but, I got the book when I was at P-Town, and I had MJ sign it. And I didn't look at the front cover except, for the title. And, MJ told me it was historical. I'm like, oh, that's so cha-ching. And I started reading it, and I'm like, I had no idea that it was in the erotic genre. I mean, I thought it was supposed to be, historical romance. So I'm looking for, that kind of story. I had no idea that it was what it was as a category. But it makes a lot of sense now. But there was, the 19-year-old was like, ho to go. Oh, my God. Was she sleeping with everybody or what?
Two. She slept with two people. Come on.
A lot. She slept with people a lot.
What, like every 3 hours? Honest to God.
So she was horny. Come on. You were 19 once.
Yeah.
I can't believe they had sex in Corinne's room, though. I was like, somebody's going to walk in. Somebody's going to walk in.
Yeah, no shit.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun to write that scene.
And I was waiting for Corinne to have sex with the mom.
Yeah, a lot of people were waiting for that, actually.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? She did what? Oh, come on. And no threesomes? What the hell, NJ?
There's something you should know about Andy. She likes orgies.
I do.
I'm working on a book right now that, I've kind of taken a break from to work on my gangster book. But a book that I am about 50,000 words into, I actually wrote an 8-way.
8-way?
Nice. On the freeway? No. That's not. Cool. All right.
Hopefully that one will get published. That would be kind of fun.
Well, that would be cool. That would be... all kidding aside with the whole, everybody's having sex with everybody thing, except for the mother and Corinne, I gotta say, it did not feel like a historical piece to me.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt like that there were hallmarks of a historical, but a lot of the language in the sex scenes felt very modern to me. Not that the words couldn't be appropriate for that time period, but the sex scenes felt modern to me.
That's interesting. The sex was really, believe it or not, researched very carefully. The terms, the language, the acts, that kind of stuff was really carefully checked out. As far as the historical thing goes, I know a lot of people did try to call it a historical romance, and it really is an erotic novel that just happened to take place in 1860. Mm-hmm. So there were some social issues to consider at the time, but for the most part, it wasn't. It wasn't meant like Gone with the Wind to be, a historical novel per se.
Well, now that I know it's erotic, that makes sense, though.
Right. It was an erotic novel that took place in 1860.
I'm with you. Huh, that makes perfect sense. Color me silly, I'm all embarrassed now. Oh my God!
There were silly. Silly.
There were a lot of people who, well, not a lot, but there were quite a few people who really missed the whole erotica thing.
Yeah.
And they were expecting historical romances, and I'm aware of that now. When I hear somebody say, "Oh, I want to pick up Forbidden Passions," I always want to make sure they're aware that, hey, yeah, it happened in 1860, and yeah, there's some time appropriate things there, but it is an erotic novel. And if you're looking for, House of Clouds or whatever, then you're not going to get that with this.
I gotcha. All right. I know there was quite a discussion with one of the Lesfit groups on Facebook about this particular book, and you were gracious enough to join in their conversation and give them a little bit more insight. And I know Liz had tracked that conversation. Is there anything that came from there that you would like to share with our audience? Any little tidbits or morsels that are interesting?
One thing I found really fascinating, and apparently it applies to erotic writing as a whole, is that the readers wanted more, and in particular to Forbidden Passions, but that they wanted more emotional connection between the characters. So I'm kind of curious how, if you guys, because that's obviously erotica, you're focused more on the sexual content, but the emotional content is kind of important. Did you feel an emotional connection between Katie and Corinne, or was it strictly fingers, tongues, and twats?
Oh my God.
The latter rather than the former, yeah.
Okay.
Well, my feeling was when I was reading it is that I think if there was more tension of denial, like you can do this even in a short story, but like I want it, I'm denying myself. I didn't feel the tension as I was reading, and it's almost like you want to pull back enough so that when they finally have sex, you're like, oh God, thank God. Thank God they finally had sex. Even if it's only after a few pages, like I felt like it needed to have a little more tension before they got it on like bunnies. Like something else gone wild.
Got it.
Ancient chicks gone crazy. No, you kidding.
Oh my God. We were supposed to go fishing. Yeah, we went fishing.
That's right.
Yeah, we caught a big one.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think anybody caught anything, which is probably a good thing.
Oh. Especially not a cold, right?
Caught a big O.
We had sex.
Mm-hmm. Caught the big O. So what's on this? You've got a couple. Well, hold on. Let me go to your website, listeners. I know MJ is going to change her site, but right now, for a limited time, you can you can check out her website at www.mjwilliamz.com, and that's Williams with a Z. So it's MJWILLIAMZ.com. And I'm pulling up her site. It's just so cute. I love that little pen. Look at that little pen. It's so cute. But you have 3 books out, do you not?
I have a 3rd book coming out next month.
Uh-oh, I'm a little ahead of things, am I?
Okay. We can talk about that all we want. Trust me.
I was going to say, you want to give us a little preview about what the 3rd book's about?
The 3rd book is also in the line of erotica, just so there's no confusion.
Okay, good.
Although I don't feel like there's as much bunny rabbitness to it as there was for Forbidden Passions.
Okay.
Initiation by Desire is the story of Sue Dobson, who is a 24-year-old resident advisor in a sorority house. She's somewhat out, somewhat closeted, kind of depends. And the story of Tully, who's a 19-year-old new initiate at the house, who's kind of trying to please her mother. That's the one thing, because mom always wanted a little girl. Tully's a bit of a tomboy. Mom always wanted her to join the sorority, so she joins the sorority kind of to make mom happy, also to maybe make some friends, because she really kind of crashed and burned and was a loner her freshman year. So, the story goes where Sue is, of course, immediately drawn to Tully. Tully has no clue she's a lesbian, and then how she kind of realizes things and things get going between them, and then totally maybe thinks that the closet's a safer place to be, and then they kind of go from there.
Well, the closet is always a safer place to be. It's not necessarily exciting or rewarding, but
it's not necessarily that, no, but sometimes you get scared straight, so to speak.
Oh God, never mind. No, that's not my vocabulary. Nope.
Don't worry, it doesn't last long. I wrote the book. There's some sex.
People really quickly. Some people I'm out to, and some people I think it's irrelevant, or I'd like to keep that part of my life private.
Well, yeah, and some people, can do. Personally, I can't. I couldn't pass for a straight person if I tried.
That's true.
So I don't try. It's like,
but you look great in a suit. I saw that for Halloween.
She's very funny. Next subject.
No, I mean, yeah, it's just MJ nor I could pass for straight.
Exactly.
No matter how hard we tried.
Right.
It's only because I have long hair that I can't flip around anymore.
Oh, and a bustier. What the hell? Come on, sister. Yeah, don't leave that out.
Oh, that one, huh? I had a historical costume for Halloween a few Halloweens back, and I was a madam.
Ooh, you're riding crop too?
I was a madam, and I had the corset very tight, and like a kind of bustled black skirt, and one of my friends was dressed as what's it called, Chippendale dancer. So she just had tape over her nipples, a bow tie, and hot shorts. And she was working as the bar back that night, which I thought was funny. She was one of my bitches.
Hold on. She was
one of the hoes I was peddling.
Oh, my God. Well, back up so I can get a complete visual. When you said tape, I was like, I'm grooving with you, right? The record's playing it. Because I heard tape, and I'm like, oh, please tell me it's not.
Black tape over her nipples, electrical tape.
Okay, I'm just making sure it wasn't duct tape.
Oh, no, not duct tape. It was black electrical tape, just making an X to cover her nipples.
Nice. That's a class act there.
Oh, yeah. That was... but that's nothing. I mean, when I was younger, most of my friends were go-go dancers, and many of them went down to thong and a dream.
Nice. How do we get in these conversations? Honestly.
You talk to me.
Oh, my Lord. So, MJ, when does your new book come out?
January 16th.
A month away? But
Exactly.
can people pre-order it now?
Yes, you can order it from Bold Strokes Books.
So that could be a Christmas gift for a loved one.
That would be a great Christmas gift.
There you go. And that's a
Ka-ching.
fabulous segue to our next segment. Let's talk about what kind of holiday gifts, Christmas or otherwise, that, we can share little ideas, maybe help inspire the inspireless. Wait, is that the right word? Well, we'll thank the bourbon whiskey for that one. Anyway, so MJ, aside from somebody pre-ordering your next book, and of course ordering the two you already have out.
Exactly.
Yeah. What other kind of ideas might you be able to suggest for our listeners for the holidays?
Well, I'm always going to promote any type of writing, any type of reading you can do. So I did kind of make a little bit of some books that are standards. But, I also, and I know a lot of people like the whole paper and the smell of a new book and stuff, but I got to tell you, I think that e-readers would be great presents for people. They're easy to download, easy to read, easy to carry with you. You don't have to, like if you were to read Initiation by Desire, my next book, if you were sitting on the bus reading it, you would have a shirtless woman if you were reading the book.
Yeah.
Not so much with the Kindle. You would nobody would know what you're reading. So that would be my number one thing.
The privacy factor you're saying. That's
good. Like ebook-wise, Breathless, The Tales of Celebration, you have a little story in there that has a very sexy red teddy involved.
Oh.
Meow, with the characters from Shots Fired. Yes. So you can even order that now, and it is very seasonal.
It is very, yes. That's a really good book, by the way.
Excellent.
It is awesome. I've been reading it. Actually, I was into the middle of the night reading it last night. And I was like, meow, meow. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Yeah. It was great. It was great.
A great way for readers and writers to revisit some of their favorite characters, which is always a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for that too, because I hate saying goodbye to my favorite characters.
Isn't that the truth?
I want to keep on going. I want to be like the Voguier permanently.
Well, there are authors that will not do sequels.
Right.
And I mean, just won't. And it's just sad because isn't it always the case where, I'm speaking generally now, it seems like some of the very best stories that you love and you just don't want them to end are the ones you want sequels, and that's the ones the authors don't want to futz with. But you find some authors that will do sequels that you're like, you know what, the first book was enough. You know what I mean?
I don't know. For Shots Fired, for you, like your novel Shots Fired, I'd like to see exactly how things work, between Kyla and Echo. I want to see if they actually are able to reclaim their marriage, or it was only, in the heat of the times that they started to reconnect and then things fell apart again. I'd be interested in that.
I have actually a lot of people who have requested some sort of sequel to Shots Fired. I actually started-ish one, kind of penciled it in a little bit. But again, I commented on Facebook the other day about Pat, because I really enjoyed the Pat character. It kind of focuses on her investigating another crime in the town of Bidwell.
Yeah, I could see her growing, as a detective, because she's like a newbie detective in Shots Fired. Exactly.
She's a rookie. Well, ish. Yeah, and so she could definitely, and she could grow and become more comfortable as a person now that she's potentially in a relationship with Jenny. She might be less inclined to be as closeted as she was and less inclined to sit back and let her partner Magno run his mouth.
God, he was a scumbag.
Yeah, he was. He was pretty gross.
So, can you tell Andy a little bit about Shots Fired, because she hasn't had a chance to read it?
I have not yet.
Shots Fired is actually that was a fun story to write. Kyla is the main character, and she is driving along one night and sees something and ends up getting shot in the head, grazed in the head. Uh-huh. And as a result of that, wrecks her car, rolls down a hill. And so she has no memory of what happened. She doesn't know who shot her. She doesn't know what she saw. She doesn't know why she's there. And the whole story is kind of the whole investigating, trying to find out what really happened. Of course, Echo, being her partner, is the prime suspect. And Echo does a lot of things that make you really wonder what she's up to and why she's acting this way. And the ending, I think, was kind of surprising. But
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. To interject, one of the things that I thought was really special about the novel, I'm not going to actually give anybody the ending and ruin it for them, was that you kept, the more evidence you listened to or read as a reader, you're like, oh my God, what's going on here? What's happening? And you start to formulate your opinion, almost like you're in a trial listening to it. And, Echo was going to be hung out to dry pretty much. And the way it ends was, a very big surprise, a total misdirect. And a lot of writing can be formulaic. And I felt that this particular novel, you really departed from the formula enough to the point where there are some true surprises, which doesn't happen a lot in fiction.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I really, that's the kind of book I like to read. And I would love to write some more of those.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to get that and read it. I'm glad that we talked about that. Yeah,
it's definitely what suspense romance, I guess, is what, because a romantic suspense, everything's romance something or other.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's more of a suspense novel, but it's definitely got the romance factor because you've got the whole Echo Kyla thing, trying to work it out through the whole thing.
Excellent. All right, cool. So, do we want to talk about our lists now?
I made a fairly long list, and I posted it on, I feel like I had premature ejaculation, and I shared my lists. So pretty much anybody who's on Facebook or whatever has seen the list, but what I wanted, rather than, go through all of it, I'm just going to pull out, a couple that I thought were really special and really different.
Okay.
the number one in the top of my brain for the best books was Broken Wings by L.J. Baker.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise is that there's this character, Rye, who's taking care of, like, her younger sister, and they escaped from fairyland. Now, normally when you think of fairyland, you think of, like, I don't know, butterflies and rainbows. But in this novel, the fairyland is a very oppressive society that, subjugates women. Like the women live separately from the men, and they're only brought over to the men's compound, to satisfy their needs, and the rest of their time is, like, spent toiling. It's miserable and awful. And when she took her sister, who she allegedly, they say that she's kidnapped her sister, but she took her sister and ran away to the society that's filled with, pixies and nymphs and all that kind of stuff. But it's really kind of gritty. And, in the novel, Rye falls in love with a nymph. And as she starts to fall in love, she's sharing parts of herself, but she's very freaked out that somebody's going to find out that she's there because she's an illegal alien. And so the tension is, like, is she going to be found out? Are they going to be sent back to fairyland? If they're sent back to fairyland, they're most likely going to die. So it's like, it's got the, really funny dialogue, really crazy stuff. Like, the teenager says some really far out stuff in the language. I don't even know how much time LJ put into that, but it was phenomenal. Oh. So that was a really special one for me. And, the other one from the best books list that, is not on one of the traditional publishers is Out of the Fire by Beth Moore.
By who?
Beth Moore.
Okay. You broke up a little bit. That's why I asked you to repeat it.
Oh, no, that's okay. So Out of the Fire has this, the main character is Anne Covington, and she writes on the side. She's a lawyer by trade, but she writes on the side, and she's decided to option a book that she's written for a movie. And the story starts out where she wants to get Casey Duncan, who's this big Hollywood actress who's out of the closet. She tries to get through to her agent. The agent's saying, I will never let her do, like, a gay film. It's not going to happen. And just as Anne is leaving, the secretary comes after her and says, when she's giving the script back, you can find Casey at this bar. Well, we find out that Casey sleeps around a lot. So this is a chance for the secretary to get back at her, potentially, if she takes, if she decides to do the film. So she does decide to do the film, and there's a tension between Anne and her and Casey. And they want to get together, but Anne's been with her partner for 10 years. And so there's, like, tension throughout, and you see whether or not, like, they get together and whether or not it's going to work. So, like, those two books I thought I'd, like, pull out from the list. And I'll just give you the list now, and then you guys can do your list or whatever.
Okay.
Sword of the Guardian by Mary Shannon, Branded Anne by Mary Shannon, Sublime and Spirited Voyage of Original Sin by Colette Moody, The Seahawk by Brenda Adcock, The Spanish Pearl, Catherine Friend.
Wait a minute, I'm feeling a pirate theme going on.
Arr!
Yeah.
Arr! There's a lot of, well, actually, the way these organized is organized how they're on my shelf.
Ah, okay.
So my shelf has like the historical, the gender bender, and, like, the pirate stuff. So it's all together.
All right.
Of Drag Kings and the Wheel of Fate by Susan Smith. Midnight Hunt by L.L. Rand, which is a pen name for Radcliffe.
Mm-hmm.
Warming Trend by Karen Callmaker.
Mm-hmm.
A new one, Wild by Megan O'Brien, that did really well in awards recently. Naked Heart by Jennifer Fulton. Fully Involved by Erin Dutton. Out of the Fire, which was the Beth Moore one that I just spoke about. Very, very, very hot Darkness Embrace with Winter Pennington.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Fur. Woo-hoo! Fur and
She's
suction.
incredible.
That's
She's
all.
incredible.
But the buzzwords for that novel: fur and suction. All right, that's what I'm leaving you with.
Oh. So it was like Dracula's sex.
Quiet, don't give it away. People, go out and buy a copy of Darkness Embrace. All right, moving along.
Oh my god.
Okay, what's next?
In Too Deep, Veronica Black. Shadowland by Radcliffe, which is another really cool one, and it's about the BDSM community
I
in
don't
a
have
really
to get that. I don't have
instead of a tittillating way, though there is lots of titillation.
Titillation.
You get like a real idea of what it's like to be a lifestyler rather than like anything chic or interesting or taboo. And it's, you know, the characters within it, especially like the newer ones that are trying to get into it, you get to see what the society looks from the out and then what it looks like from being on the inside.
Damn. Nice list.
It's a great book. Book.
You're not done with the list?
Only a few more.
Okay, sorry.
Wall of Silence by Gabrielle Goldsby. Hunter's Pursuit, Kim Baldwin, When Dreams Tremble, Radcliffe, and finally Between the Lines with Bobby Merle.
Oh, Bobby, yeah. You know, I bought that book. I got it on my shelf. I haven't read it yet.
That's actually on my list. That's on my list as well.
I'm such a bad Facebook friend. Okay, MJ, let's hear your list.
Okay, well, my list is I kind of cheated a little bit and kind of put some books, some mainstream, some less fic, some series. Just
honey, that's not cheating. That is not cheating.
That's not a cheat.
Nope.
So let's start by the first three books I would highly recommend anybody getting this Christmas. Shots Fired, Forbidden Passions, and Initiation by Desire.
There you go.
Okay,
Amen, shots fired.
Thank you. I'm so glad you like that book. I love that book. Okay. The next book that I'm going to say is a book that I read at least once a year, my all-time favorite book, Catcher in the Rye.
Wow. Really? You read Catcher in the Rye once a year?
At least once a year. I got to touch base with Holden. Yeah, I really like that book.
Damn, okay.
What do you identify with Holden?
I think that there's a lot of him in me, a lot of, contrary to the whole maybe Facebook persona, there's kind of a loner, kind of an outcast-ish about me at times. So, yeah.
Do you have firm feelings about phonies?
I like to catch brass rings on the merry-go-round, which he does. Anyway, okay, the other books that are mainstream, that are classics, Great Gatsby, Old Man and the Sea, and Bram Stoker's Dracula. Those should all be read by everybody. If you've never read them, you need to read them, buy them, give them to somebody. Those are classics.
Mm-hmm. And it's such a different vampire. It's such a different vampire than what we have, the glamorized, beautiful, lusty vampires that we read these days.
Yeah, he's definitely, it's amazing, but there's nothing about sparkling in forests or anything like that.
Yeah! The Twilight jab. I love it.
Kind of like that.
That's awesome.
And sparkling.
Seriously, come on, give me a break.
I know, it's really...
Yeah, I like to write vampires. I've got probably, I think, 5, something like that, short stories out there published that are vampires. I absolutely love them. But there's Bram Stoker's, to go back to the roots, that's always fun. And
it's interesting, I read that book several years ago and had no idea when I first cracked it open that it was done in diary format.
Really?
Yep, had no idea. And I was initially put off by it, and then I said, you know what? It's a classic for a reason, Dan, so continue reading. And I did, and I was so glad that I did. It is an amazing work of fiction.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorites.
Yep.
As far as lesbian book goes, Holy Hell by Elizabeth Sims is a great mystery suspense novel. Mm-hmm. Between the Lines, as you said. Punishment with Kisses by Diane Anderson Minshaw. That's it's a lot different than the books she writes with her husband. And it's kind of Shadowland-ish in terms of what Punishment with Kisses is about. Is this a daughter of a well-to-do family gets murdered. And her sister, who's always been kind of the good kid, wants to find out what happened, so she dives into the dirty underbelly, if you will, of Portland, which is where her sister ran, and kind of submerses herself into the lifestyle. It's a fascinating book. It's a great book. And if you like Shadowland, Liz, you'd like Punishment with Kisses.
Really?
I just like the title alone. That's caught my attention.
Oh, it's really good. I think it's a couple years old now, but it's a good book.
I like that. Well, it goes along with the concept that spanking is a privilege, not a right.
That's awesome.
Good answer.
So wrong.
And then as far as the other books go, I get back to my mainstream real quickly here with a series. Anne Rice, any of her books, they're awesome. Queen of the Damned, Interview with the Vampire, Vampire Lestat.
Yeah, just stay away from violin.
The Witching Hour.
Yeah, yeah. Anything in the Mayfair Witches.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lesbian characters of all time is Mickey Knight.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yes.
J.M. Redmond's, any of hers, excellent. Kate Culpepper, specifically the Tristane trilogy, but Tristane series, but any of her books are great. Old school Motor City Thrillers by Teresa Szymanski.
Oh my God! Yeah, with Brett Higgins, that's on my list too. That I have a list of series.
Yeah, Brett Higgins is. Yeah, those were the first books I ever read, and then actually Reese was the first person that ever published me. My first short story, she was the editor, so I was just thrilled beyond words.
Oh my God!
There's Lauren Lorano mysteries are by Sandra Scapatone. Lauren Lorano. This is another old school one, but she was a lesbian private investigator, and I want to say, I'm not sure, but I want to say it's by Penguin Books. But yeah, it was like a mainstream books. There, the PI just happened to be a lesbian.
Oh.
Those are really good. And then, of course, anything by Patty G. Henderson, who is a goddess. Anything by Colette Moody, and of course, yeah. And then, I gotta say it, but I will say it. Anything by Rad, but in particular along the series lines. Justice series is by far my favorite. So that's my list.
Matter of Trust is my favorite from that series. A Matter of Trust, yes. the prequel.
Yeah, that's a great book.
Wow. Sounds like a fabulous list to me.
Yeah, and definitely if you haven't, those books, I mean, I'm like, I read a ton, so to actually choose ones that I would say, you really need to read these, I highly recommend these books.
Sweet.
All right.
Nice.
What about you? Come up with some good non-bookish ideas, Andy?
Well, bookish ideas. Let me jump in there for just a second. I too like a lot of mainstream books, and Anne Rice would have made my list if I'd actually made an official list. So would Laurel K. Hamilton. Yes. I really like her work. Kim Harrison is a new favorite for me. I only discovered her this year, but I'm sure glad I did. Any book by Robert McCammon is going to be worth a read. He is a fabulous author who had a very long dry spell and then came back on the scene in the 2000s and has popped out a few historical novels that are fabulous. And he's just all over the board. He's done horror, you name it, he's done it. So he's a great one. Caleb Carr, yes. He had a couple of very good books. The Alienist, which we're going to discuss on the next show, which I'll provide a little bit more scoop on that at the end of this show. But Caleb Carr's did The Angel of Darkness and The Alienist, which are fabulous. And I just purchased The Italian Secretary, and I cannot wait to read that one. I heard it's got a little humor in it. So we'll see. I don't associate humor with Caleb Carr, but you never know. Some of my other favorites I know you guys are gonna laugh when you hear this, but the Edgar Rice Burroughs Venus series. He did Tarzan, which a lot of people know him from that work, and from the Mars series. But he actually did a Venus series. Now, mind you, the last time I read it, I was probably like 22 and thought it was awesome. But I remember it left a really, really deep impression. So one of these days I'll go back and reread it, but I thought it was pretty fucking awesome. So just so you know. As far as lesbian fiction, there's so many of them. Some of my top favorites are, as you know, a Cocktail Hour favorite too, Colette Moody and Seduction of Moxie is probably one of my all-time favorite lesfic novels. Anything by Susan Maher, I'm a big old Susan Maher fan. I love Tiope Keelakota by Red Hawk, which I think is just absolutely fabulous. I am Ollie Volley's Devil series is one not to be missed. It is by far something really, really unique and fabulous. Let me think. Who else? I think, yeah, I know
The
I'm
Knights
missing.
of Silk and Sapphire, isn't that like?
Well, yeah, but that's not actually published. I mean, if you want to get your girl or your guy or whomever, because I figured that we've got a pretty broad audience here, if you want to get into fan fiction and print it out and put it in a nice folder with a bow on it, you can print out Knights of Silk and Sapphire by Amber, which is very hot, I must say. And then that kind of goes. There's a lot of fan fiction that you could print out. If you need a list,
Or you
email
can
me.
strap a bow around yourself and go, I'll read you some fiction.
Right? But yeah, I mean, I don't mean to exclude anybody. My suggestion too is go back to the Cocktail Hour site and at cocktailhour.us and take a look at our shows. We started this podcast to talk about books that we loved or that made an impression on us or that were in some way very unique. And that's going to tell you right there the stories that we really, really enjoyed. And there's quite a few of them. So I would encourage you to do that. Aside from that, the things that I've been giving over the last few years, I found that most people have what they want necessarily, not what they need. But is that right? Let me think. Wait. These damn drinks, honest to God.
They're very strong. I'm kind of...
I know it, right? Oh! All right, let's back up. I've been basically giving people cash and gift certificates. Let's just make it easy. No preamble to this. I mean, if they want to get what they want to get, I give them cash and they can go get it. Because I don't want to get somebody something that they don't want. They have to take back. That's a pain in the ass. Or pretend like...
Also, nowadays you consider like mailing gifts and stuff. It costs like $50 billion to mail a package somewhere. You mail a gift card, put it in a card, send it to them. It's all good.
Yeah.
That's true. That's smart.
And nowadays you could if you're going to give a gift to somebody, you can usually just email them a gift code and go on a site any site that does that, and they can pick their own stuff out.
Yeah, a lot of people do like an Amazon list or whatever site that they like to go to and create a list that has a public link and you can go to and get what they want. In my family, we do a Secret Santa thing where, we each grab a name out of the list, like little piece of paper in a bucket. And then I'm the list master when everybody sends me their lists, and I email one list and everybody gets what they want. Cash and gift cards are great, especially long distance, but sometimes it's nice to open a present at Christmas, even though it's not a super surprise. At least it's nice to get something that you wanted.
Well, yeah, that's true, yeah. One of my friends every year sends me a notification by email to a site called, I think it's Kiva, Kiva, where you pick, there's a huge list of groups that you can look through, scroll through, and donate money to the group so that they can do things, whatever it is that they need, whether it's help with improvements for the home, or there's just so many things, and that's pretty cool. I think it's Kiva, K-I-V. I don't know, K-I-V-A. I think it's Kiva. Let me think what else. Oh, and then of course there's gaming. If you have a significant other that enjoys gaming, you can always get like an Xbox Gold membership or buy some games and have fun on Christmas Day.
One of the things I did a couple weeks ago, I finally have money to buy books again, and one of the things that was torturous for me was when I didn't have a budget for it and I was just desperate, and that's when I started reading fanfic because it was free. But when I finally needed to make room on my shelves because I was buying new stuff, I went through all my books and pulled out, about 53 titles, and I brought it to the Gay Center.
Oh, nice.
And I did a mention on that on Facebook, and I've gotten other comments from people. Well, yeah, they're starting a new library, especially when it comes to lesbian fiction. Most libraries don't have us, or if they have us, they don't have, a lot of the people that we're interested in. So if you could go into your library and pull the stuff that you think people will enjoy, or something that you don't think you're going to reread or whatever, and bring it to whatever gay center is in your neighborhood, or, you know, like a short drive away so you don't have to think about shipping. Like, we just drove into the city and I donated it to the gay center in New York, because one of the things that's true for many lesbians is that they don't make as much money as most people do. And the privilege of reading about our lives from our perspective, and yes, there's a lot of romancy stuff, it's nice to be able to go, oh, I can go to the library. They'll have some stuff about me, you know?
Yeah.
That's true. We have the Queer Center. Well, it's been a while since I actually went into the library portion of the Queer Center here in Portland, but yeah, it seemed like when I was there last, a lot of the titles were, you know, of the nonfiction variety, which is cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but there wasn't, I mean, a lot of lesfic, which I think is pretty cool to have that kind of stuff there.
Yeah, yeah. And don't forget audiobooks. That's another nice little market.
True.
Yeah. For you know, fiction and nonfiction. I happen to like each equally on audiobooks.
Yeah?
Yep. I do.
Well, there's also like cheaper shuffles and stuff like that if you don't have the money to fork over for like a big, you know, strapping iPod. You can still get a smaller one, like a shuffle, for some kind of decent amount of money, and be able to do those kind of things too.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. There are varying different MP3 players out there, yeah. And it doesn't matter as long as you can get your, you know, your music or your books. It doesn't matter, you know, what's on it. You know what I mean? As long as it's reliable and it works for you, it's good.
Awesome.
Oh, well, cool. I can't think of anything else. I mean, I'm sure after this show is over, I'll think, oh yeah, this and that, and the other thing.
Well, you mentioned massages, like.
Oh, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, I'm a big spa bitch. You know, when I go on trips, you know, I save up a lot of cash so that I can go, you know, pamper myself. I love that stuff, like facials, massages, pedicures, all this kind of bliss treatments.
Nice.
And there's a site called spafinder.com, and they have gift cards, and you just put in your zip code and they'll find local places for you to go. So that's one thing that you can think of, especially for somebody who, just as long as they don't mind other people touching their bodies. There's some people who are not into massages or pedicures or people touching their feet, whatever.
That's true.
But, I would that for a total stranger, I would be happy to give them massages as Christmas gifts. No problem. Pick me.
That's hot.
So you can make it to South Florida then, MJ, sometime next year? Is that what you're saying?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Do that per thing.
Just saying. Oh, God. So, the holidays are upon us. Think creatively outside the box. Do something a little different. Wow your girl, or your guy, whatever the case may be.
Oh, yeah. Buy yourself a nice red teddy, right?
There you go.
There you go.
Give me some little, nice but naughty adult toys.
Oh, yeah.
Or like Liz said, the corset.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be, that's my thing. I love corsets, man. I wrote the scene in Forbidden Passions. It was like almost painful to write, where she was trying on dresses because she was in a corset, and I was just like, oh my God.
You had all kinds of little things dancing in your head, didn't you?
Those are not easy to get into, by the way, and it's a helper kind of thing. Like, you can be holding yourself together and your partner can lace you up, but the trick is to get them to actually lace you up and keep it on.
Damn.
And not pass out.
Damn.
Yeah, I got mine at the Renaissance Fair. Too bad Renaissance fairs don't happen in winter, because that could be a nice gift for your partner. Let's go to the Renaissance Fair. You get to see lots and lots of boobies.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Busty Bell. Mm-hmm. I heard about those. Next time I get up to Wisconsin, I'm going to try and make the timing so that I can check out a Renaissance Fair. Just saying.
You gotta go.
I heard they're awesome.
It's really fun, and like all joking and titillation aside, it's a really fun thing to like go through and have all the period costumes and the little shows and all the different shops and stuff.
Cool. Well, this has been a fabulous show, but an hour is almost upon us. Can you believe it?
Time flies.
It is so
Time
true.
flies when you're talking about boobies.
No doubt.
And corsets. And vibrators. Oh, Lordy. Oh,
and that's just what was said out loud.
Yeah, no lie.
You guys don't even want to know what's in my brain.
Oh, yes, we do.
I want little thought bubbles. I want to see them just like this.
Yes. Okay. So thank you, MJ, for coming on the show. It was fabulous. And thank you, Liz, for being a co-host on the show.
Welcome.
Thank you for
It was great
having me.
talking to you, MJ. I've seen you so much on Facebook, but not,
That's true, huh? I don't think I've ever heard your voice before.
I know. I'm like, your voice is so deep.
She's
Not
like,
as deep as my son's, though, right?
oh, hell no. That boy, he's talking from his testicles, I'm telling you.
You'd have, like, a really nice drag king voice. If you were doing, like, a little monologue or something.
Good to know. Maybe that's my calling.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, one of the books on my list was of Drag Kings and the Wheel of Fate, and there's some really amazing drag show moments in there. And it's very, epiphany. Like, the one character, Rosalind, is straight, and her friend brings her to this gay kind of drag club. And then she sees, like, the drag king, Taryn, come on and, like, loses her mind and then slowly realizes that Taryn's the thing for her. It's a lot of hot sex. For those of you who like sex, I know.
Well, I'm not really partial to it myself, but...
Yeah, Pinocchio.
Something's growing. I don't know if that's your nose.
Okay.
Next subject. Were you saying goodbye, Andy, or...
And it's like, should we end the show now? Should this be offline topical conversations? Oh, lordy. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Next show, are you guys ready for this? Next show, we're going to finish the year out with one of Cocktail Hour's favorites, Colette Moody. Oh, yes.
Oh, yay!
Yes. Colette's coming on as the co-host, the guest co-host. Woo! And we are going...
So that was a surprise guest.
Yes, the surprise guest. No. Colette Moody is the co-host for the next show, and we are going to review the book, The Alienist by Caleb Carr.
Nice.
And our special guest is Rev. So that'll confuse the hell out of people now. I think Colette's probably going to be confused. But that's okay. We'll straighten it all out. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that. To be the last show of the year. And it'll be Christmas Eve. So, I think we'll probably post it on Christmas Day. Not sure, but keep a watch. That's all I can say. So, thank you all. Have a very happy holiday. To you, MJ, and to you, Liz.
Right back
Thank you very much.
All right, and that's a wrap.